rod and reel combos for fluke fishing with a bucktail. We can go into some other stuff, and I also have, really quick, as you can see here, I had a rod that I literally just broke off the tip. Not paying attention, walked up from the basement and broke the tip off one of the rods, and I'm going to show you how to replace that really quick. But anyway, let's talk real quick about the reels. And, you know, I'll just be totally honest. I've never been a Quantum fan. I've always been a Shimano and Daiwa guy. In the freshwater reels, Shimano, I always felt, was kind of a notch above the rest. Daiwa, Team Daiwa, was always very competitive in the reel market with Shimano. So I definitely liked all of their higher end reels. In the Shimano lineup, I was always big on the Cores, the Metaniums, the Chronarchs. In the Daiwa line, going back all the way to the Fuegos, the Stees, those were all great reels. So that's the rods and the reels that I have always been using for a long time. And you know, Quantum's kind of become popular. A lot of different YouTube channels are talking about the Quantum reels. And the biggest reason why is because they have this flipping switch button right here. And a flipping switch was actually designed, some people say, what's flipping switch? What's flipping? Flipping is a bass fishing technique where you're pulling line out and you're kind of making underhand swings with a lure to a target. And that technique is called the flipping technique, where you're flipping into bushes or into weeds. And so the flipping switch is from the freshwater bass fishing realm. And Quantum is one of the few reel manufacturers that still includes a flipping switch on some of their reels. Most of the other companies have gotten away from it. It's one less piece of hardware to have on the reel, one less spring, and so you see more of the higher end reels don't have a flipping switch anymore. But Quantum, it's a cheaper reel, and it still has it. The nice part, in freshwater bass fishing, nobody really uses a flip and switch anymore. It's kind of become a technique, the actual flipping technique, where you're holding the thumb bar down. Let me show you the difference here real quick, probably explain it better. When the flipping switch is on the off position, which is up, when I push the button down, I have to engage the reel handle or turn the reel handle to engage the reel, and you'll see that the thumb bar switches back up. And actually what it did right there is something I'm going to show you. So that's the flipping switch off. When I put the flipping switch on, as you'll see, the thumb bar pops back up as I release it up. It doesn't require a turn of the handle to re-engage the reel. The reason that's become popular with the bucktail for fluke technique is because, and it is really nice, it is very useful, is because I can hold, whether you're lefty or righty, it doesn't matter. I can let line out and let my thumb off. So I can, if I, let's say we were fishing in 60 feet of water and now the it's drifting deeper, I can let some more line out. Or if my line's starting to scope out with the tide, I can let some more line out, wait until I have contact back with the bottom, and then let it off and start going back into my presentation. So the flipping switch, absolutely, to be honest with you, has more of a purpose in this saltwater application than it does even in the bass fishing, what it was truly designed for. So it is great, and I really, really like it. Here's the problem, and I don't mean this, and I certainly don't like downplaying other people's products, but man, Quantum is really cheap. when you compare it to everything else that's out there. Some of the good points that it does have is, a lot of it's plastic, which is nicer in, saltwater applications. But the components, what's the internal parts are really lacking, and that's why they're able to keep the cost down. These two reels here, these are both Quantums. One is an Accurost, which is the blue one, and the other one is an Energy. And the price points I think are about $20 different. And what makes the two reels different, the frames are the same, and aside from the color, it's the internal parts. That's the difference between the two reels, and part of the frame, the external frame. Here's my issue with these reels, and I'm trying to make a push with a couple of friends I have in the fishing reel industry to maybe start looking at this. But these are the two reels that are the most popular for this technique. The Quantum Accurost and the Quantum Energy. The Accurost is, I think, around $100. The Energy is around that 120, 130 number. They both have the Jighing World handles on them, which is absolutely a must. Makes this reel 100 times better, just because you have one big knob, your power is much better, you have more control. But I will say that if you're interested, and they're not bad reels, but if you're hard on your equipment and you don't wash it all the time and you don't keep it greased, these reels are one-season reels. The Accurost definitely is a one-season reel if you're hard on your equipment. But if you're hard on anything, but I'm talking like regular season use, if you don't wash it all the time, just a season when you're going out and you're doing a lot of fishing. The Accurost is a fine reel, but you're going to be replacing it every year, if not maybe two. So my suggestion to you is, if you want to use the Quantum reels, spend a little bit extra and get an Energy. This has not the greatest components in the world inside, but they're better than this. And one of the things I have to tell you is I had purchased probably 8 or 10 of these reels, the white ones, the blue ones, and I forgot what the other color was, maybe green or something. And they were fine. They're relatively smooth for a cheap reel. They don't weigh too much. I keep them the brake on the side. I keep off. I have the brake on the reel handle side. I have that pretty loose. I keep it pretty loose. The only issue is with this, to be honest with you, it's just like I've always felt with Quantum. It's just kind of cheap. The biggest problem was a lot of times where the reels after use wouldn't re-engage from the flipping position. You can see here the flipping switch is on, the thumb bar is stuck down, and it actually required once in a while the thumb bar would get stuck. And what happens is you have buildup that gets in there, the salt can get in there. As you can see, it sometimes I really have to, when it gets stuck, but a few of them I just had to completely throw away at the end of the season. They were just spent. There was no getting this back. I took them apart, I cleaned them, greased them. Like I said, I don't want to insult anybody, and I'm not saying that you have to run out and buy a $400 reel either. My suggestion is, if you're going to buy these reels, which are fine reels, go the extra mile to really take care of them. Make sure you rinse them, maybe once or twice a season. Bring them home, peel the line off, let them sit in some Dawn dishwashing detergent with a little bit of fresh water, nice warm water. You can take the reels come apart fairly easily, and just give it a good cleaning. Try to get in there and give it a thorough cleaning, and they'll last a little bit longer. But I gotta be honest, like I said, it's just Quantum has just never been, and it's been around for a long time, it's just never been really good stuff. It's average Joe It's an average Joe brand, and honestly, Quantum, which is part of Zebco Quantum, in the bass fishing world, the biggest name was Kevin Van Dam, who's a professional bass fisherman, the greatest of all time. He actually was with Quantum for about, God, 30 years, and he's now with Lew's. And a lot of the Quantum pro staff, professional fishing guys that were with Quantum, are now with other companies. Don't know what that means. But anyway, so if you're going to spend the money, my suggestion to you would be spend a little bit extra and get the Energy. It's got some better components in it. This is the Energy S3. It's basically exact same reel as the Accurost, just with better components. So you have the Accurost S3, the Energy S3. It's what comes down to the difference is the insides. So anyway, so that's it for the reels. As far as rods go, you know, there's a lot of really good rods out there. I think for the money, you know, when I take people out and I've got, you know, 3, 4, 5 guys that don't do this too often and they don't have the equipment, one of the nicest rods that there is as far as fluke fishing with a bucktail and a high-low is the Jighing World Nexus. I mean, that's a pretty common thing. But one of the things I have done is I've tried the different models. I've tried the medium heavy, the heavy, and the extra heavy. And the you know, I honestly I don't think you want to go any lighter than the heavy. If you're using you know, a 1 ounce, 3/4 ounce to say maybe a 2 ounce, 2.5 ounce bucktail, maybe a 3 at most, the 7-foot medium, or the 7-foot heavy rather, is going to be a fine rod. I don't get into that thing cutting the 4 inches off the top, although I can see the reason to on the 7-foot heavy, because that it does have a little bit too much tip. So if you're really trying to impart a lot of jigging action on the bucktail, it's a little too whippy. So what I did was I went to the extra heavies. I picked up some of these Jighing World Nexus extra heavies, and I have to tell you, they're great. You know, I use up to a 6 ounce bucktail on them, and it has a lot more tip. The tip is a lot stiffer on the extra heavy, and quite honestly, I love the backbone in the rod. That's one of the nicest parts. It is well balanced. It's not an overly expensive rod. You know, pretty sure made in China, but most rods are. So that's been a good one. This is a good rod to give to people that don't get to go out. So if you're looking for some rods to put on your boat, and I put an Accurost or an Energy on it, it's a good rod and reel to give to somebody who you're going to take out fishing, who doesn't get to go often. So, or it's a great rod and reel combo to buy for if you're a beginner. That's that. The other rod that I really liked, and this is getting into you know, some heavier applications, is the Terramar by Shimano. This was the Terramar Inshore Elite Series. Same thing, 7 feet. What was this one? This, believe it or not, was a medium power fast action 7-foot rod. I really like it. It's you know, again, Shimano does some nice stuff. Was very happy with it. It's well balanced, not overly heavy, has a ton of backbone. It looks really nice. So yeah, so that's another one, the Terramar. And I'm sure there's some other great rods out there. Daiwa has some good ones. But these are the two that if you can get your hands on, they're not overly expensive and they're really nice. Speaking of this Terramar, what I did was this morning, I broke the tip off. I was a little disappointed. Actually, I was very disappointed. But it's not the end of the world, because the part that I broke off is about 4 inches long, which is what the exact size you hear guys cutting off the tops of their Nexuses. So basically what I wanted to show you is I don't have all the tools here because I was just going to do it during the video, but I do have the tip, and I have this the upper part, the tip, the tip guide, and I'm going to show you how to get it off. And all you need is a lighter, a simple Bic lighter. If this happens to you, I'm going to show you how to get that off. So basically, all you want to do is get it on there, heat it up, nice and easy. Don't go bananas on it. Just give it a little bit of heat. It might start smoking a little bit. If it catches on fire, just blow it out. But basically, you just want to heat it up a little bit, and just be careful because sometimes the guide, if you hit it too hard, you just want to heat it up enough to where the tip will come out of the. You can see it right here. Here's the end of the guide right here. And we'll just kind of wiggle that a little bit. Ooh, it's hot still. Oh. And just heat it up a little bit. Not too crazy. Don't go nuts, because if you burn it off, then you're going to have to just go get another tip, which isn't the end of the world. But sometimes you can, depending on how it's in there, you can... this one's, actually, you can see here, this one's a little soft. I don't know if I'm going to get this off. I was hoping to. If not, we'll do it in another video. But let's see here if we can get this. Sometimes you can get it hot enough to where... oh, let me grab those manly scissors I had yesterday. There we go. You can see it popped right off. See that? So now it popped off clean. We'll just let that little guy. Ooh, that's hot. Ooh, buddy, is that hot? All right, so let's look at this here. This is the tip of the. Let me just make sure that. You guys can see this. I'll push this guy. Let me move this Nexus out of the way. And what we'll do here is this is some epoxy that was left over, and we'll just kind of spin it around. We'll heat it up a little bit, not going too crazy, and I'll just kind of scrape off some of this. Now, the other thing I would suggest is maybe getting some. This is the thread of the that bottom guide that was on there. Is to get a little bit of sandpaper. And then, but I'll show you that in a second. And we'll just kind of clean this off. Get those threads off. A little bit more there. Just go easy, take your time. There we go. Now we just have the rod blank. Now, one of the things was, I think on this rod, let's see if this will fit. It was pretty, the taper on the rod tip wasn't too bad. It might be slightly bigger. If it is, then, you know, that's just the way it goes, and it is. So, we're not going to be able to use this tip. I'm going to have to go to the next size up. Well, that stinks. But, you know what? Hey, that's the way it goes. This was a spiral wrap, or this was not a spiral wrap. So that's the other thing. Which the Nexus, all the Nexus Jighing World Nexus rods, those are spiral wrap, which I really like, by the way. So where the line comes off and it rotates around the rod, and the line comes out of the tip like it would out of a spinning rod instead of over the top, and that does take the friction of the line away from the rod blank. So as it wraps, the guides wrapping around the rod keep the line from actually touching the rod blank anywhere. So that's definitely one of the good perks of it. So anyway, I'm gonna have to save this for another video where I can actually get the appropriate size guide. But Long story short, this was about the rods and reels. The Quantums, you know, if you can find another brand out there that has a flipping switch on it, I know there's a few. There's some cheaper Daiwas that have them. That's the problem, though. A lot of the reels that have the reels that have the flipping switch option on them, that feature, they're usually the less expensive reels. So anyway, but this is what we've got. Keep them clean, though. They should last you a while. Just spend the money on the Energy, not the Accurost. I really wasn't impressed with this thing. It's fine reel for a season, or if you want, you know, you're not you're gonna take somebody out and not worry about losing it over the side of the boat, maybe, or something like that. But other than that, it's not a great reel. The Jighing World Nexus, definitely recommend that rod. It is really nice. Jighing World also makes a bunch of other rods that are really nice for doing the same application, that go up in price range, up into the, you know, $300–400, I think. Personally, I don't think you need to spend that much money on a rod. There's a lot of rods out there. There's a lot of very fine rods out there, and I can tell you from the manufacturing end on rods, a lot of these companies are having them made overseas, and they cost $7 or $8 to make. So, and to be honest with you, so are the reels too. So, you don't have to spend a lot of money on these rods. Anything that's coming from overseas is between $7 and $45 to $50 to make. So don't go spending a ton of money on a rod. No need to. I can tell you I know that from experience. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on another episode, and we'll take care of this broken eye. Yeah, kind of bumming. It's like the exact same size. So I'll have to replace it. All right, take care, everybody. Hey, do me a favor. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I don't have enough subscribers. We don't have enough subscribers. It doesn't go into the algorithm, the algorithms on YouTube. So do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I give away fishing spots. All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.